The good old saying goes that cruelty may rule a moment, but kindness rules eternity. And while we all know that this is true, how many of us actually live by it? Well, today's story is a great example of what happens when we choose to be cruel. Our next story is about a woman who was cruel to her husband for 28 years, only to regret it at the end. It all started when the woman married her husband. From the day they got married, she hated him. Her family had forced her into the marriage with a man she didn't love, and she took out all her frustrations on her new husband. She would insult him, scream at him, and make his life miserable, but he would just endure it all without a word of complaint. He loved his wife, and he didn't want to do anything that would upset her. As the years passed, the woman became more and more cruel towards her poor husband. She would often throw tantrums and ask for expensive gifts, and if he couldn't get them for her, she would resort to slapping him or even kicking him in the groin. She treated him like he was nothing but a slave. Yet he never once tried to fight back. He would always just apologize and try to make things better between them. Meanwhile, people from the neighborhood started noticing the black eye, bruises and scars that adorned his body. They would warn him to leave that woman, but he would never listen. "I don't want to divorce her," he would say. "She is my wife, and I must take care of her." People would just shake their heads and sigh. They couldn't believe that someone could treat another human being so poorly and get away with it. But the truth is that the man had brought this upon himself. You see, the day he married that woman, he gave up his freedom and chose to become a slave. Now, some might call him a coward for not standing up for himself, but the truth is that he was just too much in love with his wife. He didn't want to hurt her, even though she hurt him every single day. But one day, the tables turned. The man woke up and found that his wife wasn't in bed next to him. That was weird, because she always slept with him. So he got out of bed and went downstairs to look for her. As he was making his way down the stairs, he heard her talking on the phone. So he stopped and listened intently to what she was saying. "Yes, I haven't seen him for a few days," she said on the phone. "But don't worry, he will be back soon enough. All men are the same anyway. They just want to have fun and then go home to their families. They never want to spend money on us women. They are all the same." The man's heart shattered as he listened to those words. For the first time, he realized that his wife didn't love him at all. She had married him out of convenience and had been using him ever since. With that realization came anger. The man was furious with himself for being such a fool. He couldn't believe that he had been so blind all these years. He was also angry at his wife for treating him so poorly. He wanted to confront her, but he knew that would only lead to more pain and suffering. So he decided to do something else instead. He packed a small bag and left the house. He didn't know where he was going, but he didn't care. All he knew was that he needed to get away from that toxic woman. He rented a small apartment and started working odd jobs to make ends meet. He was determined to make something of himself, even if it meant starting from scratch, and that's exactly what he did. Over the next few years, the man worked hard and saved up enough money to start his own business. He opened up a small shop, and it slowly began to grow. Before long, he was a successful businessman and no longer had to worry about money. Meanwhile, his wife's life was falling apart. She had spent all her time trying to find new ways to make money and get more expensive gifts. But now that her husband was gone, she couldn't do that anymore. She tried to find him and apologize for her behavior, but he had changed his number and she couldn't find him anywhere. One day, she was watching TV when she saw a news report about a local businessman who was doing an interview. And as she watched, her heart skipped a beat. It was her ex-husband. He looked different now, older and wiser, but she recognized him right away. She tried to call him, but he didn't answer. She tried again and again, but he still didn't answer. Eventually, she gave up and went back to watching TV. But she couldn't stop thinking about her ex-husband. She wondered how he was doing, if he was happy, and if he had a family. She couldn't help but feel a pang of regret as she thought about how she had treated him all those years ago. Years went by, and the man's life only got better. He started traveling around the world and meeting new people. He also fell in love again and married a wonderful woman who loved him dearly. On the other hand, his wife's life was still a mess. She had tried to find a new husband, but no one would have her because she was too old and too bitter. She spent her days alone in her apartment, eating takeout food and watching TV. She had become a shell of her former self and was filled with nothing but regret and bitterness. Then one day, the unthinkable happened. The woman received a call from her ex-husband's wife. "I'm calling to let you know that my husband has passed away," she said. "He died peacefully in his sleep. I know this may come as a shock to you, but I wanted to tell you myself. His funeral will be held tomorrow. I invite you to come and pay your respects." With that, she hung up the phone. The woman was stunned. She couldn't believe that her ex-husband had died. She felt a surge of emotions all at once: sadness, guilt, regret, and above all, fear. She knew that she had been cruel to him all those years ago, and now she was afraid that he had held on to that grudge and taken it with him to his grave. The next day, she went to the funeral home to pay her respects. She stood there silently as the coffin was lowered into the grave. She couldn't help but think about all the times she had hurt him, all the times she had slapped him or kicked him or yelled at him. She wished she could take it all back, but it was too late now. After the funeral, she went back home and locked herself in her room. She cried for hours, but it did her no good. The guilt and regret were eating away at her, and she knew that there was no escape. That's when she remembered something. After her husband had left her, she had taken his wedding ring and hidden it away. She knew that if he ever tried to find her, he wouldn't be able to leave without it. Well, she had kept the ring all these years, but now she knew that it was time to let it go. She took the ring out of her jewelry box and stared at it for a long time. It was just a simple gold band, but it meant the world to her. She knew that if she sent it back to his wife, it would mean that she was sorry for what she had done. It would be an apology, a final goodbye. With that thought in mind, she called her ex-husband's wife and told her to come over to her house. When the woman arrived, she was shocked to see the sight before her. The woman was lying in her bed, pale and lifeless. She had taken an overdose of pills and was now beyond saving. As the ambulance arrived and took her away, the wife stood there staring after them. She knew that she would never see her husband again, and the guilt and regret were finally catching up to her. The cruel woman had finally gotten her comeuppance. What can we learn from this story? The first lesson we learn from this story is that we should never treat others badly, especially the people who are close to us. We never know when it might be the last time we see them. The second lesson we learn is that revenge is never the answer. No matter how much we might think that we deserve it, it will never make things better. In the end, it will only cause more pain and suffering. Finally, the third lesson we learn is that we should always try to make amends whenever possible. If we know that we have wronged someone, we should do everything we can to fix it. Even if we can't take back what we have done, we can at least apologize and hope for forgiveness. All right, friends, that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe for more videos like this. Also, if you liked this video, please share it with your friends. Until next time, stay tuned and take care.